This is episode 3 of the Rise Up podcast. We're a morning radio show hosted by Steve, Terese, and Tim on Family Life, a network of stations across New York and Pennsylvania. Our podcast is a weekly conversation that will help you think and grow in your faith. If you haven't already, subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode. And find out more about our show at familylife.org.
Today is going to be great. We just know it. This is Rise Up with Steve, Terese, and Tim on Family Life.
But have you really tried it?
I've thought about trying it, but I haven't because I know it's not me.
But
Sports. I just don't do it.
Or what do you call it? You call it sports ball.
Sports ball. Yeah. If we're going to use my
Have you
official
ever since a
terminology.
child, have you not engaged in any kind of sports spectatorship or even playing or anything like that?
Yeah. So typical sports, the sports ball kind, I had been involved in as a kid, kind of, the obligatory sports like the T-ball sort of thing, that kind of thing. I wanted to like it. I think maybe not being good at a lot of them at a young age made me just kind of think, oh, well, why would I bother trying? But I will say this. In terms of watching sports, when I moved back to this area where I grew up, I thought, I want to identify with this place kind of regionally, like people really get in on this. What is this Buffalo thing? I'm going to be a sports person. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I kind of we were getting excited about this together because neither of us were sports people, but we're like, we can do this. We can be sports people.
You made this proclamation that, hi, we're going to get on the Bills bandwagon.
Yeah.
You made it an actual conscious decision.
Well, not even Bills. We were just we're going to do sports. We were starting with that. We're we're going to care about sports.
A little bit at a time, right.
Okay.
Right.
And this is where I come back to what I said right as we started here. It just didn't happen, that we never tried. We wanted to try, but never got as far as trying to actually watch.
So you don't know
and
that you don't like it because you haven't really tried.
I guess not. Technically, you're right.
You know what this reminds me of? My friends, I have some really close friends, lifelong friends, and I know you two are in this boat as well. I'm out of the boat. The Star Wars boat.
Oh, yeah.
I've never watched any of the Star Wars things. I don't think. I may have seen. I don't even remember. I have no interest in. And they say, try it. Just try watching one, and you'll. And I still haven't.
First of all, I can relate to both of you because I never liked sports. I especially have never liked baseball. I'm just I don't get baseball. But then this past summer, we went to a baseball game where I sat very close.
Okay.
And I actually really enjoyed it. And I realized what I don't like about baseball is all the distractions. On TV, there's too much distraction. And if you sit high up in the stadium, there's too much to see. I can't focus on the game. And then I go, the game's boring because it can't compete with all the stuff. But when you sit close, you're actually focused on the game. I also thought I hated Star Wars. And then a couple years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch them all. I don't know why I thought that was a personal mission that I should tackle. And I did. And now I'm like, I understand it all, and then you begin to see deeper meaning in it. And so you just you didn't try it, though.
I have a friend who's never tried cheesecake. Here's his reasoning. He says, first of all, I'm not quite sure about it, and I've lived this long, and I've never had cheesecake, and I'm a happy guy, so why try it now? He's never tried cheesecake.
You could be a happier guy.
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing. Exactly. Right.
You could end up being the biggest Star Wars fan ever, Steve.
That's true. So which one should I start with?
Oh, that is a debate.
This is so hard.
That's a debate.
That confuses me.
I mean, if you really want to do it right, you start with 1, which is actually 4.
I'm confused.
But
on
it's
that.
hard to get through 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. But once you make it through there, then 4, 5, and 6 are so much more rewarding, even though they're really 1, 2, and 3.
Right, yeah. So,
why?
See, Star Wars math, Steve, is what you subtract 3. That's how you work.
Sometimes we jump to a conclusion. We think we know one way or the other.
Right. Ahead of time.
And sometimes we don't try it. And then other times we go ahead and try it and we ended up liking it.
My goodness.
Okay, confession.
Okay.
I spent many years of my adult Christian life serving in women's ministry and saying things like, I don't like Lisa TerKeurst's books.
Okay.
Because it just seemed like she always had a book. And I just didn't really get into them. And so I figured, well, since I'm not reaping the rewards of them, I don't like them. Pandemic comes. I happen to have some Lisa TerKeurst books on my shelf that were gifts to me or that I've received in one way or another. And so I opened one and I was like, is this woman reading my mind?
Wow.
Like, is she at my house, like going through the same things that I am? And I gleaned like all this good stuff. And then I started another book, but this time I decided to do it with like a group of friends online during the pandemic. And it was a really cool experience to do it together and see other people grow. I think during the pandemic, I may have read 4 Lisa TerKeurst books, like actually studied them. And then I was able to interview her for one of my podcasts. And I felt really bad because I had to like confess and say, I'm going to be really honest. I never read one of your books until the pandemic, but it was like amazing and insightful. And now I'm embarrassed to say that I was once at a women's event with Lisa TerKeurst, and they asked me if I wanted to meet her, and I said, no, I'm good. Before I knew how much I liked and respected her. And I wonder how many times there are people in our lives that just because we look at them, we're like, yeah, not my type. No, I'm good.
Right. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yes. I can think of myself in my own life, Terese. I mean, hearing you say that, I have made... Yeah, not to my credit, do I say. I've made those snap judgments, from something you've heard somebody say. You've never really gotten to take the time to know them. You hear them say some things in passing. You see them post something online, and you develop this picture in your head of what you think they're like as a total person. You think, I don't like them. You get to know them, or something happens, and you see how they react. You find out, wow, there's so much more to them than I thought. They can end up becoming really, really close friendships. I've done that myself time and time again. I find, that old saying, first impressions last. Well, it's true. It's how we often act, but it's not a rule to live by. Don't let your first impressions last of somebody. There can be so much more. There always is, I find, to people that you might write off from a first experience.
There's a friend of mine now, I kind of just ruined the end of the story telling you this, that when we first met, she was super annoyed by me. And the reason she was annoyed by me is we were at like a painting party, and I can paint. And she was really frustrated because she couldn't. And I was trying to help her, and she thought I was being kind of a know-it-all. And so she really wrestled with it afterwards because she was like, that girl is so annoying me, which I am annoying a little bit. But anyway, she really was convicted. And then she came to me and said, we should get together. And in my mind, I was like, no, because she's mean, because she had been kind of so standoffish with me. So we ended up finally just getting together and having lunch. And now she's one of my closest friends and confidants, and that's totally a God thing, because there were so many ways that I could have just dodged, like, yeah, well, I'll get back to you. But she was listening to the Holy Spirit, and I was listening to the Holy Spirit. We were able to actually be, and she's like one of those friends who will always be so honest with you in Jesus, just to be like, not sure that that's really biblical, what you're thinking or what you're doing. And she always has good scripture, and we like sharpen each other. And I love that. That's like my favorite thing about our relationship now. But I annoyed her at first.
When we first moved here 10 years ago, our son was going to be a counselor at Super Summer with Family Life.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they met at the parking lot at Family Life. And the story goes, across the parking lot, another kid who he had never met before, I say kid, but they were going to both be counselors. The story goes that he saw our son, and his first impression of our son, who had just cut his hair kind of weird on the side and then had kind of a weird T-shirt on. And this guy says, boy, that guy looks like such a jerk.
Aww.
He is such a jerk. And he ended up to be Will's best man in his wedding.
Yes,
yeah,
that is awesome.
They're best friends to this day. Wow. But that first impression thing, until you actually get to know, that was my first impression of Christianity.
Oh.
I didn't accept Jesus till I was in my early 30s. And growing up, I knew Christians, and even in high school and things. And I thought, well, they're nice people, but they're too good. And I wasn't a bad kid, but It's like, they're too good. I'm not going to act that way. I can't act that way.
I remember these like religious ed classes that would happen after school, and I thought Christianity was like a secret club.
Yeah.
That it was like those kids were in that club, and I even wanted to go, and I was like, well, but I'm not in that club. I don't know what it takes to be in that club, but I'm definitely not. So it felt very closed off to me. I can relate to that.
Yeah, I didn't want to try. Want to try. We talk about trying things. I want to try Christianity because, first of all, I can never be that good. I'm never going to be that good. These are good people, right? And it's, again, I wasn't bad, but I don't want to follow
They
these.
had it like all together.
Right, and I don't
Yeah.
want to follow these rules because all these rules, and I was right. I never can be good enough, but I didn't know that at the time. But now I know that we can never be good enough. God already did that for us, and that's what I learned. We can never, ever, ever be good enough. And I guess I didn't know that until I was in my early 30s. So, try Christianity? No, I'm not going to do that until God reaches your heart. You try it, and it changes everything, doesn't it? Really does.
But what about lima beans?
Lima beans is something I've always liked. I'm wondering, through all this, you take your lima beans, Terese,
Right.
and you go ahead and sit and eat your lima beans. At least try them, so maybe you like them. While Tim is going to a baseball game.
Oh, I like this.
Excuse me, I gotta get out of here to watch my Star Wars
There
movies.
it is. There
May
it
the
is.
force be with your lima beans.
God is like the sun, always there and always shining, even when you can't see him. This is Rise Up on Family Life.
You know, I just had my first cup of coffee, and I didn't think of sticking my toes in the coffee.
Oh, see, now that's. I would have thought maybe that would have come to your mind first.
Well, I know I have an unusual mind, but that one didn't happen. Here's why I bring this up. There's someone who is recycling coffee grounds to make comfy shoes. They're waterproof. They're super comfy. They absorb odors.
Love
and
it.
They're made from coffee grounds. So that's using, you have your cup of coffee, you keep the grounds, and all of a sudden
Right.
you end up with some shoes. So I'm not sure what the advantages of all that
I do.
are. Why? What do you mean?
Well, these shoes, they keep track of where you been,
Oh.
where you're
boy.
going,
Get your
where
feet
you been.
planted
Where
on
you been?
firm grounds, I guess.
That's
Oh
all.
boy, I'm sorry.
You're not late. You're right on time, and we're glad you're here. This is Rise Up on Family Life.
Parrots' tastes have really changed over the years, I've noticed, because
Like the taste of.
I thought you were going to say parrots
Parrots.
taste like chicken.
no. The parrot itself, when I was a kid, I was always like, Polly want a cracker.
Oh,
Sure.
right.
Right.
Okay.
Apparently now, after reading this, Polly wants a video camera. Imagine this. His family, true story, was on vacation, and they were at their hotel, and they were on the balcony. Their video camera, their little GoPro was sitting there.
Yeah.
Along comes a parrot who swipes up the GoPro and just takes off. And they're like, there goes our video camera. It's like
Right.
it's like going. Eventually, the parrot came back, or they followed it a little bit, and they the parrot placed the video camera down. Apparently, it wasn't as tasty as it first thought it was, and put it down. And what was cool about it was the video camera was on
Yes.
while
All
the
right.
bird was doing that.
Best video ever.
I know, because you know why?
'Cause you're gonna say it.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
You say it.
It was a bird's eye view.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is this where I go,
Steve want a cracker? Steve want a cracker?
Reminding you that God is in charge today and every day. It's Rise Up with Steve, Terese, and Tim on Family Life.
We got out to see a movie the other day. Popcorn was great. The special effects were great. But the plot of that movie, it was complete sardoodledom.
Who?
Yeah, it was sardoodledom, Steve. You don't know about this word?
No.
It was coined in 1895, a word that means a lot of melodrama in a story. It's a plot that's way over the top. Yeah, sardoodledom. It's a real word. But what I'm more interested in about this word isn't just that it happens to perfectly describe this particular film. It's why the internet has been talking about it this year. Turns out in 2007, a video went viral of 11-year-old Kenny in the spelling bee when he was assigned the word sardoodledom. Now, for whatever reason, this word came back up again at the beginning of this year because this video resurfaced. Here's Kenny's reaction, kind of like yours, to getting the word sardoodledom.
Sardoodledom.
Sardoodledum.
That sounds about right. Sardoodledom.
Sardoodle.
Went a little deeper, maybe trying to kind of get a little serious about it. But then he realized it's actually kind of hard to spell. So he spent some time thinking about it. And I love this clever trick he tries before he goes for it.
What part of speech is it?
It's a noun.
Is it kind of like kingdom?
I can't quite answer that.
Fine, I'll give it a shot. Sardoodledom. SARDOODLEDOM.
He's got it. Kenny's got it. Total sardoodledom, except this. Well, this might be over the top, but it's all a true story. It happened to Kenny.
Sardoodledom.
Feel free to stick around a while. We love it when you're here. This is Rise Up with Steve, Terese, and Tim on Family Life.
I don't know whether to be excited or have compassion for these employees. I'm a little bit torn here. There's a company that picked an employee of the year. That's what their company does every single year. It's a debt collecting company. And they chose their debt collector as the... but here's the thing. Here's where the compassion comes in. Imagine the rest of the employees when the announcement was made for the employee of the year, and it was a AI-powered debt collector, artificial intelligence. It wasn't even a real person.
Come on.
Can you imagine the rest of the people in the company going, wait a minute, I lost to artificial intelligence something. Here's where I get excited, though. I'm thinking of our next time here at Family Life for Employee of the Year, because my intelligence has been categorized many times as artificial. and so I think I got a shot at it.
Today is the day the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. This is Rise Up on Family Life.